very excited. Just want to tell you that.
Thank you.
My question was, you obviously can do an American accent, and you're from Australia, so I wanted to ask you, what other kind of accents can you do?
I've had to do an English accent quite a bit. I've had to do a French accent. And I've been asked to try and do a Russian accent, which is really hard for me. French is somewhat doable, but the Russian R's, I just can't. I can't roll my R's anyway, so therefore the Russian accent is kind of out for me. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hey.
Hi.
So was there any unexpected or funny moment you shared with fans to us about?
Let me think. I don't know. Unexpected. These questions are hard because off the top of my head, and without boring you guys for 5 minutes while I try and remember one, I might have to come back to you with that one. They're always nice. They're nice experiences running in defense.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to ask, because I also went to acting school. Evening acting school was like a second degree, and we worked a lot with animals, sounds, and smell. And I wanted to know what's your major source for inspiration when you build a character. For example, do you get inspired by animals, how they move, the sounds they make, or anything?
I don't know if I've ever used an animal as inspiration, but I understand, again, I know that concept from acting school and stuff. It depends on the project, but I'm very visual. So for some projects, I've kind of created a bit of a mood board, and sometimes I've gone so far as to like print them out and like kind of create a little kind of scrapbooky sort of thing, because that's definitely how I can kind of I understand a world or a character or be reminded of something, and so yeah, I'm more of a visual person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you what it was like working on that show for you.
It was so fun, and I, obviously came out of it with two of my best friends, and it was sad when it finished, and we were also shocked because we really thought we were going to go back for another season. But it was such a fun experience. It was my first American job. It happened very quickly. I got the call on, I think, Monday saying I got it, and then I was moving to Vancouver on like the Friday. So it was very quick. It was a very quick turnaround. And it was a really fun experience. We all were sort of living in Vancouver and like growing up. It was like this, I call it like the college year. It felt very much like college for me at least. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
So what was your favorite place outside of the origins?
Good question. The bayou looked beautiful. It really did. And they didn't even have to do much. And it was this sort of, I don't know if you guys know much about, but our studio was outside of Atlanta. It was about 35 minutes outside of Atlanta. And the studio actually, which is quite unique for studios, because even like big budget films and stuff have like the studio, and then they have to go like another location to use water and another location. But the cemetery and the bayou and the stage were all within like 20 meters of each other. So you'd walk out the stage door, which is where the offices were and where all the inside sets are, and there's this kind of lake that they turned into a bayou, and then you go around the corner on the other side of the car park, and that's where the cemetery was, which was cool. Like, I mean, we not barely, but like compared to other shows, we didn't do a lot of stuff on location, like outside of the studio. So the bayou is the most beautiful one, but then my favorite location was probably, I liked Hayley's bedroom. I always had a good time shooting in Hayley's bedroom.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
Which scene was awkward in the series H2O?
Gosh, the funny thing with H2O is I shot it so long ago. So it was like 12 years ago. I don't know what, they were all really, I mean, the water stuff was obviously hard and tricky at times, and you know, we were shooting at 5 in the morning in the ocean, and so there were a lot of like scenes of chattering teeth and between kind of action and cut, just having like, which didn't really make any difference because we were already in the water, but they put these big like metals, not metal, like the tinfoil towel things over us in the water to sort of keep us somewhat warm, and then they call action and we take them off and have to pretend like we weren't shivering and goosebumpy and frozen solid. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And
No, we can't do hugs normally during the Q&As. That's for the pictures and everything. Sorry.
Sorry.
Because if you could, then everybody else. Sorry. Thanks. Question.
hi, Phoebe.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of stressed.
Don't be stressed.
It's been 10 years I'm waiting for this moment.
Aww.
I wanted to thank you first. I wanted to know if you would be interested to shoot again with Shelley.
Of course. We're always shooting things together. Just on our iPhones. Of course, I would love so much to shoot with Shelley and with Britt. And with any of them. Thomas, Jessica, I mean any of those Secret Circle actors, you know, all still my good friends. But yeah, I think someone needs to cast me and Shelley in like a buddy cop comedy or something. So, yeah.
Second question, do you have a favorite lines from Fame? Sorry.
Favorite line from Faye?
Yes.
I have a terrible memory. I also don't watch my own stuff a lot, so it's hard to remember because, I guess, I loved when I got to tell Cassie that she was a witch. And I said, "You're a witch. You're a full-blooded witch. Deal with it." I think that was fun. That was like living out my favorite movie fantasies of like Charmed and Practical Magic, and that was a very like cool witch line to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. If you had to teach a class on a subject you know a lot about and are passionate about, what would it be?
That's a good question. I would maybe teach a class. Well, currently or like recently, I've got a friend that's really trying to educate me on kind of sustainability and being a little environmentally conscious just in my everyday life. So to be able to teach my class more, I would like to learn more about that and then be able to then pass that information on, because I think it's really important that we are aware of how much waste we use and the plastic that we use every day and the quantity of what we kind of don't need to be using. So that would be something that I would like to learn more about and then to be able to teach more people about.
What are some other things you'd like to learn still?
It's always been my fantasy to learn how to play the drums. I would like to learn how to cook. I just learned not well and I nearly sliced my finger off. But I'm learning to julienne my vegetables, but I need a really good knife to do that. So yeah, that was something I just learned. But yeah, cooking is something I love doing, and I just don't really do it much. So that's something I'm trying to learn.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering what was the funniest moment or thing that happened on the show or off the show?
Funniest thing that happened, I mean, there was never like one specific thing, but there were definitely times when, especially Daniel and I, just couldn't stop laughing. The one episode where we went to the masked ball, there were some ridiculous masks that some of the extras were wearing. That wasn't their fault, it was just a funny costume that got picked. And so Daniel and I couldn't really get through a few takes without laughing. And that kind of laughter is a painful, like your job is on the line if you do not stop giggling kind of laughter, which is then just like you're sucking in every muscle and trying not to, and so then you just sort of start crying because you can't laugh. That was probably one of the funniest experiences on set.
And offset?
set. I mean, we go to Comic-Con every year, and we always have a pretty fun traveling circus experience at Comic-Con. You know, with both shows there over the last, you know, however many years. Yeah, we always have fun. Yeah.
Okay, I got another question. What inspired you in life? Not as an actress, but in life.
What inspires me in life? Definitely, you know, I love to go to the movies. I love the cinema. I love the experience of going to the movies. I love reading. I love seeing live music. I just saw Paul Simon in LA. And I'm going to go and try and see a few more concerts in LA over the summer. I really want to see Florence and the Machine. Yeah, and then just, you know, I have a lot of very creative friends, so I try to surround myself with people that I find inspiring.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi,
Hi.
I have 2 questions for you. Did you have some scene after shooting you said, no, I will never do it again?
You know, and it became a running joke. There were so many scenes that I found myself lying on cold concrete, and I would always like look up at the camera and just say never again. Like if I'm lying on the floor covered in dirt and blood, no more. But every episode I would find myself. Someone needs to do like a composite of just like every time Hayley is just on the floor, because there was definitely a lot of those scenes and I didn't love them.
So you won't make them again? Oh, you will make it anyway.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay, the second question. I saw that once you posted the book of Dostoevsky you read. Did you like it? Do you like Russian literature?
That actually was my girlfriend's book that she came over and brought wine and smoothies and Russian literature. So that was what that photo was of.
So you don't.
But I have read some Russian literature. I mean, I read Anna Karenina, but not that one.
Okay. So because I wrote about it.
Oh.
Do you know what the English word stands for in the Maratha? What does it mean? Beloved.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so it's a little lyrical poem. My secret in the Maratha, in Estonian coldness, I'm singing my sonata to you, a weightless mermaid of Australian breeze, that being fragile needs no protection. Swimming between the lonely trees, or reading Dostoevsky in search of revelation. Remember that you are the most beautiful creation the sun and earth have given birth so far.
That's beautiful. You wrote that?
Yes.
That's amazing. Everyone, like, give her a round. That's amazing. Thank you.
Hi, Phoebe.
Hi.
Who's your biggest idols? Who do you look up to?
Who do I look up to? I definitely, you know, look up to my mom a lot. Even though she's younger than me, my little sister I look up to. I think she's so incredibly strong and smart and hardworking. And then in terms of people, like, you know, I think Emma Gonzalez, who's that amazing girl that was part of the school shooting, who really kind of stood up afterwards and really kind of gave some really inspiring, passionate, you know, re-energizing speeches about gun control in America. And for someone so young, I found that very inspiring.
That's amazing. I have one more question. How was it shooting last season and saying goodbye?
You know, the 4th season, we all thought it was our goodbyes. So there was a lot of goodbyes at the end of that season. So when we came back, it was sort of like, oh, I've said goodbye to you all. But it wasn't sad when I shot my scene, the big scene in episode 6. That wasn't so sad because I knew I was coming back a lot. But it was my very last scene. It was very sad. And it was sad because no one was really there, because it was the end of the night and I was on a second unit, and so like just, yeah, it was a very small crew, which we would call a skeleton crew. And I didn't think I was going to get so upset. When they would cut, I just fell to like, I was so, and I think they have it on camera, because I just got so upset. More just because I knew there were people that I'd spent every day with for 5 years and I was probably never going to see again. And you leave shows or movies with like good intentions thinking that you'll stay friends with everyone forever, but chances are, especially in like, you know, the context of these people that are crew members that have families and kids and other jobs and things, you know, I may never see them again, and that was really hard.
And how was it shooting Safe Harbor?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like one of the best shooting experiences of my life. It was so good, and it was such a nice challenge. It was really nice to kind of be offered this beautiful piece of material that was so different to anything I felt like I'd been able to do before. And I fought really hard for the role. It was really nice to prove people that I was capable of doing something that wasn't just in the supernatural world, and I really had to fight for it, and so that it was even more satisfying when I kind of won the role. I was really grateful.
You can ask more questions if you have. We still have more time, so if you guys have questions for Phoebe, go ahead and put them here. We have another question.
No, I was just going to say thank you, and that I really want to watch it. I haven't watched it yet. I hope it comes to Europe.
I hope so too. I think that it may end up on like a streaming service, so you probably will be able to watch it.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Hello.
I really loved maybe less known film that you made, Tomorrow When the World Began. I really loved that film.
Thank you.
And how was your experience like working on that film?
In the same way of Secret Circle, Rachel Hurdwood has, and it will always be one of my like, close friends. She just had a baby. She played Corey in that movie. And so that was another experience where I came out of it with really great friendships. And that was my first movie ever. And it was on such a big scale that I thought all movies were going to be like that for the rest of my life. And then I was like, oh no, this was just a big action movie, and movies are not normally this big and detailed.
Did you ever think that there would be a sequel?
We did, but I think we all got a bit older and realized that if there was going to be a sequel, we probably wouldn't be in it.
Okay, thank you.
It was amazing. When we had the really little ones, we started working with them when they were 6 months old, and by the time we stopped working with them, they were nearly 2. So I grew up with these. I mean, they're going to one day see a photo of me and have this like weird visceral flashback reaction because I was with them, for most of like their very formative years. And then in terms of like Summer Fontana, who's just such a good actress, she's going to go so far. She's so beautiful and talented, and was sort of running circles around all of the adults on set in terms of her talent and her like focus. And then obviously Danielle is amazing, and she's going to do an amazing job in the spin-off. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hey. Hi.
Who was your favorite director to work with? Charles, Joseph, or Dan?
I'm just gonna, no matter how I answer this, I'm gonna get in trouble. They were all good. They really were. They all came with different things. Charles and I had a nice experience just because Charles and I have such a shorthand with each other. And there was a moment, I may even have said this already, but there was a moment when we were doing episode 6, and he was just like, I'm just gonna let you do what you do. I don't need to direct, I'll just let you do that. And so that was nice. But they were all really good, and they all did really good jobs with their episodes.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering if you have any interest in knowing legacies.
I think that where Hayley's storyline ends up on this season, I think that Legacies is going to be more about a new group of characters and a new journey for these characters. And I think to bring Hayley in, it would just be sort of repeating some of the past things that we've seen already. So I don't know about, I'm just speaking for myself, but I don't see Hayley, but there's a good chance there will be other characters going on to Legacies. Yeah. Hi.
kind of strange question. I didn't have any inspiration for questions, so I asked my almost 9-year-old son if he had any questions for the actors. And he said, ask Hayley, because he doesn't know her name is Phoebe. He said, ask her because I know she's on the originals, but I haven't seen that, and I know she's pregnant, like with Klaus. Not real, he said. If you hated being pregnant on the series. Being fake pregnant.
We were talking about this yesterday with Candace because she had a fake belly as well. It was not comfortable. It was more just an annoying thing every day, and especially in the heat of Georgia summer, having this big belly. And the belly was either made of silicone when I got a bit bigger, or there was a period where it was just stuffed with like cotton or something. So it felt really lumpy and weird and like, but yeah, I mean, it was fun because it was something like, you're not used to seeing yourself with a pregnant belly every day unless you actually are pregnant. So yeah, it was fun, but uncomfortable at times.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
So you mentioned Charmed earlier, and I want to know, who's your favorite sister?
Oh my God, I couldn't even remember their names. I always liked, who was the like new one that came at the end? Paige. I think it was Paige that I liked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good. So I'm from Switzerland, and we have 3 national languages and one another that didn't make it, which is Romansh. So if you agree, I would like to teach you how to say I love you.
Okay.
In Romansh.
Let's do it.
So it's A, ta, na, gegend.
Gegend. Na, ta, gegend.
Ta, na, gegend.
I'm terrible at learning
It's
languages.
okay.
Say it one more time.
Ta,
Ta,
na, gegend.
gegend.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks to you, and I love you.
And good.
It's okay. I tried, but you know.
Just you can edit this together so it sounds like I'm saying all those things together in one sentence.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi. I wanted to know, was it cool to shoot with Mark, the other actor?
Yes. I love Mark. So Mark Webber is married to one of my best friends, Teresa, and he's this amazing filmmaker, and he makes all these really interesting, really grounded, kind of independent films. And I've had 2 experiences shooting with him in the Ever After, and I just shot something for his new film, which is this amazing kind of like heightened. It's a little bit like Where the Wild Things Are. And he's amazing. He's such a like interesting, introspective director, and he's so talented, and I love everything that he does. So I'm always very grateful in any capacity to be involved. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
So earlier this year, I think you went to Hamburg with Chanel, and you tell us something about this trip. What did you like the most of it?
Yes, that was in December, and what was really cool is we went to, actually this is a funny story, we went to the Hamburg Ballet School, which was beautiful, and we went in and I was with the editor of Vogue Australia, who is also on the board for the Australian Ballet, and we walk in and we were sort of like, kind of like watching like we're at the zoo, all these incredible athletes doing, you know, dancing and training, and there was this one girl who was standing there, and we were like, oh, can we ask her a question about the school? And she happened to be Australian, and she happened to go to my high school, and like knew me when I was in year 12, and she was like in junior year. It's just like very strange to be on the other side of the world, and the only person that we talked to was this girl that grew up in my hometown of Mossman and went to my high school. So that was kind of funny. And play someone from the OC. I don't know if I would play Marissa. maybe Summer. That would be, yeah, maybe I'd go back and play Summer from EOC. Thanks.
Hi, Gun.
Hi.
I was wondering, you mentioned that you really love going to the cinema and the experience of it. So I was wondering, what kind of movies do you love? What were some of the recent movies that you really enjoyed?
Call Me By Your Name I saw recently. Phantom Thread I really loved. What else have I seen at the cinema recently? So Red Sparrow, which I really liked. Yeah, I just love the whole ritual of going to the movies, and I love watching movies at home as well. But the whole kind of, you know, popcorn and being in a dark room, and it's just so exciting for me. And then what else have I watched lately? I watch a lot of weird old 90s sort of horror movies or like thriller movies that have either Gwyneth Paltrow or Jessica Lange or both if you're watching Hush. But yeah, I watched Sliding Doors recently. I like that era of movies. Yeah.
Are you going to go see Hereditary?
That was what I was meant to see last week and I didn't, but I really want to see that. It sounds terrifying.
No. And do you like sitting in a room full of people, or are you the kind of person that just likes to be mostly alone in a room?
In the cinema? The cinema, I don't mind when there's a lot of people, but in general, I'm not a crowd. I find festivals and stuff very stressful, but the cinema is fine.
Last question. Have you had any chance to visit some other part of Belgium, or are you?
Sadly, no. I know we're only here for such a short amount of time, but it's beautiful, and I want to come back and actually spend proper time here and be able to look around and visit more places here.
I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, have you watched Wonder Woman and did you like it?
I did watch Wonder Woman, and yes, I did like it. I got very, I was super inspired by that movie. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was really funny as well, and I thought she was so awesome in it. Yeah, I really liked that movie.
Yeah, me too, but Daniel didn't apparently.
Daniel. He just likes to be argumentative. He loved it.
He said, you know, how they dressed and stuff and different.
Oh, Daniel. Nah.
No, I didn't have the same film taste as him.
No, me neither. Me neither.
Have you watched 3 Billboards Outside Missouri?
Yes, and I loved that movie as well. This was a good year for movies. I didn't get to see The Shape of Water.
Oh.
What else did I really? I, Tonya is amazing. It was a good movie year.
Yeah, Daniel hated apparently that movie too.
Daniel hates everything that I like, so I just have to tell him that I don't like something, and he'll say that he likes it.
What are your favorite country in the world? Is it like Australia, like home?
Yeah, I have to say that. I know, sorry, I didn't want to say that, but yeah, Australia.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hi.
So I just had a question. I wanted to know, when did you start acting? Like, when did you start getting interested in acting?
I wasn't the kind of young girl that was always aspiring to be an actress, but I was really shy, and my mom put me into these classes at the Australian Theatre for Young People that were about kind of clowning around and like learning how to do kind of circusy things. And I just really loved it, and then I tried musical theatre, and I realized I'm a horrible singer, so that wasn't going to work. But I danced as well, and then I started taking acting classes over the summer break, and I just loved it. And I was introduced to kind of plays for the first time, and I just found it this really beautiful escape. But I still wasn't sure if that was what I was going to do for the rest of my life. But then when I started going there more often, I realized that this was something that I could see myself doing, and so I started to pursue it a little more.
Okay, then I have another question. For Hayley, if you could decide for her, who do you think would be the better man, Elijah or Jackson?
I mean, probably Jackson would probably be a safer option for Hayley.
Okay, right.
But she should probably end up with Elijah because I think they're just destined.
My heart breaks. I'm like, in Germany, the 5th season hasn't aired yet. And I want to watch it because I want to support you guys, and I watched all the other seasons, and I'm like, but I don't think I can because I know my heart will break because I just love Hayley and Elijah together. I love them together, and I want happiness for Elijah, and I want happiness for Hayley, and nothing of that is going to happen.
Well, you'll see.
I love
nice moments to come.
Oh, maybe. Is that okay? Okay.
Worth watching.
Well, all right. Thank you so much, and again, thank you so much for being here. That's a childhood dream. That's a real child. You're my favorite mermaids. Just by the way.
Thank you. I know you said that to all the mermaids, but thank you. Including this somewhat question statement, are some really good, interesting questions. It's kept us all on our toes, so thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to break that circle of great questions. Because me and my sister-in-law, we had a fight yesterday about how you did the thing with the.
Oh yeah.
I can't do that. So can you do that again?
You can do it?
No, I can't.
I mean, I bet other people in this room can do this. I don't think it's as.
I can get my arms like that.
Last question.
Hi. I must think if you're an actress, you see your male actors naked. Who has the best six-pack?
I mean, I don't see them naked, but I see them shirtless. This is not a good question for me to answer. If I answer this question, you will not see any of the boys for the afternoon because they will be gone back to the hotel to go to the gym to like one-up each other. So I'm very fortunate that all the men and gentlemen that I've had to work with are very fit boys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Phoebe Tonkin, everybody.